web programming project. Um, so the team leader is Varun Joshi. The project name is, we created a Hangman game. The description is a basic 6-level Hangman game with 3 levels of difficulty. All team members and their respective project responsibilities. So for Varun, he's the team leader. He created a starting code for PHP and HTML and basic functionality. Vimet Jawardana, he created the slides and the PHP. Kenyon Jones, the CSS functionality and the HTML. He ran the slides and the HTML. Alexander Cosmo, slides, HTML, and PHP and CSS. And this is the GitHub link to the project down below. Statement of the problem. So in this problem, we are developing a 6-level Hangman game with 3 difficulty levels and a leaderboard, which tracks the highest winner rate. And also we do this only using PHP and without JavaScript.
For the general requirements, so HTML structure, HTML should be used to structure the PHP pages and sites, and CSS style. There should be CSS styling to make the web pages pleasing and easy to use. PHP make the game able to store usernames, score, and have a leaderboard and handle the overall logic of the game. So overview of solution. So the basic idea behind the application is to create a Hangman game. The game has 6 levels that the user must beat, and if the user beats all 6 levels, they get put on a leaderboard with the lowest score being the best. So there are also 3 difficulty levels.
The key design features for this were PHP tracks all the game data, writers, user scores to the leaderboard, tracks the number of guesses a user has made, help track the actual Hangman functionalities, and also helps to create the images. CSS and HTML help give the game an easy to understand and intuitive interface. We also created an advanced CSS background that utilizes a parallax effect. The user interface the user interface is quite simple. The user must simply put in their guess for a letter, and the UI informs them of it if they're correct or not. The PHP tracks everything behind the scenes and updates the front end each time user submits data.
All right, and for the home page, this is where you'll log in to play the game. The home page simply asks the user to enter a username, and if the user is not registered, they must register at the register link. The home page features a parallax effect for the decoration. It uses 2 grid displays that move vertically across each other, one going down and one going up. It also has 5 columns, which are each moving at different speeds to create the effect. The middle columns will move the slowest, and the outer columns will move the quickest.
So I'll go ahead and dive into the testing plan. So basically, we had 3 main things we wanted to test: so registration and login, the actual Hangman, main component of the game, and then the leaderboard. So the registration and login, this was pretty simple. First you just enter in incorrect usernames that haven't been registered. Make sure that doesn't work. So once we tested that, then we actually registered a user and then made sure that they were properly registered by seeing if we could log them in, and then. We tested the Hangman component, so we just made sure that every word that we had was properly working. We tested all the difficulty levels, all that stuff. And then with the leaderboard, we just did multiple runs of the game and then did varying, different numbers of incorrect guesses and then saw if the leaderboard was properly updating. The leaderboard basically just looks at how many incorrect guesses a user makes and then tracks those. And the lowest number of incorrect guesses is the highest score on the leaderboard. So let's dive into the actual code. So here you can see we have a couple of like basic just session variables that we want to use. So one is the total incorrect guesses, one is entered letters, and then one is incorrect guesses. So the total incorrect guesses is something that we're going to be using across all of the files, and this is basically just to track the score on the leaderboard. So every user starts off with 0 incorrect guesses, and then each incorrect guess they make, they get added on, 1 for each incorrect guess. Entered letters is just the array that's used in order to track the letters that a user has entered, so a user can see on the screen what letters have they already guessed. Incorrect guesses is just for the current page that the user is on, how many incorrect guesses do they have, and this is so we can track the status of the hangman for each level of the game. So incorrect guesses is on a level basis, so each level of the game we use incorrect guesses, and the total incorrect guesses is the for all the levels how many incorrect guesses have happened. So this on the left is for the actual login part of it. So here you can see if they have a correct username, they go to the difficulty.php, which is where they select their difficulty. Otherwise, they get this invalid username, please try again. And on the right is the actual register logic. So basically what it does is if a username has been submitted, it goes through the contents of the file, and then if the username already exists, it'll let the user know, please choose another username. Otherwise, it'll reroute them back to the login page, which is index.php, and it'll write the contents, it'll write that new username to the users.txt file. So it's stored, and when it goes back to the index.php, it'll be able to find the new username in users.txt. So here, we're going to start getting into the logic of the game. So this is just for the first level, what things look like. So first, we make sure that the total incorrect guesses is set, and if it doesn't exist, then we initialize it to 0. It should exist, but just in case it doesn't, we initialize it to 0. Same thing for entered letters, and same thing for incorrect guesses. So this is just to prevent any unintentional errors from happening. The first thing we set is the session variable of max guesses. So every time the form is submitted, we track max guesses. And then here we have 3 different things happening. So we're tracking the difficulty variable, which is easy, medium, or hard. And then for each level, we have a different PHP page. So we have 1.php, 2.php, so on and so forth, up to 6.php. And each of those have a different word for each different difficulty level. So here it's cat, meow, and tiger, but for the next one, it's dog, bark, and wolves. So that's how we're kind of tracking the difficulties, the number of letters that a user has to guess. So moving on from that, basically on the user interface, there's a text input box where you can just put in 1 letter, and you click submit, and each time a letter is submitted, it goes through all of this. So first, it gets a letter and makes it uppercase. It converts everything within the previously entered letters to uppercase to make everything consistent. And then this is a key kind of thing. It makes sure that the user has not already guessed this letter. So if you guess the same letter twice, it's not going to penalize you. But say that you have, not guessed this letter yet, it'll first add it to this array of all the letters that the user has already guessed. And then it'll first see if this letter is not in the word. And if it's not, then we'll increase the number of incorrect guesses. And then we'll check to see if the incorrect guess is equal to the max number of guesses. And if it is, then we redirect the user to the lose page. And then after that, so in case none of this is true, if they have, once we go through all this logic, they haven't lost, we get to this part where it basically just checks has the user, it basically goes through and looks at the hangman, there's some there's some underscores that are there that basically track what letters the user has guessed. And then if a user guesses a correct letter, it'll fill in the underscores that were blank before. So if the letter is cat and you guess C, at first you'll just see 3 blank underscores, and it'll fill in the first underscore with C to let you know that C was a correct letter to guess, and it's the first letter in the word. So that's what this code basically does down there. So here, the next thing that's kind of going on at the top here is it's basically just making it so that the hangman image that's shown will be the correct image that's shown. So initially what it does basically all of the Hangman images are named Hangman underscore, something. And the something is the number of incorrect guesses. So we start at 0, which is Hangman underscore 0, where there's, nothing there. And then Hangman underscore 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 will show kind of the complete image of the Hangman. And then once it reaches 5, any incorrect guess after that will end the game. So here, this is just to help us kind of debug and also to help provide the user with some feedback. It shows their username, the letters that they've currently entered. The Hangman and the current word state is just showing kind of the, the underscores and then the correctly filled in letters. The difficulty level reminds them what difficulty level they have, and then the total incorrect guesses is, again, just how many incorrect guesses have they had so far up to this level. And this is updated every time you move on to the next level. And then for this right here, this missing letters basically just looks at how many letters are still left within this within the array. So first, it looks at the unique number of letters within the word that the user is supposed to guess, and then it compares that to the array of entered letters. So what letters has the user already entered? And then basically what it does is it looks at if, there are no missing letters, as in when you take the array difference between the array of unique letters in the word they're supposed to guess and then the actual array of entered letters. If it's empty, that means that they've guessed all the letters they're supposed to guess. And in that case, what you do is you unset the entered letters variable, because this is going to be used to track the number of letters entered for every single level. And then you reset the incorrect guesses, because this is also on a level by level basis, and you give the user the link to move on to the next level. Because if this array is empty, that means that they've guessed all the right letters. The next thing to guess, or the next thing to look at, is if the incorrect guesses is greater than the max guesses. So we again unset the variables that were there. We also unset the total incorrect guesses, and then we reroute them to lose.php. Otherwise, we keep prompting the user for more letters. Now this is the final part, which is the win sheet. And so this is just how the leaderboard is done. So here you can see it just gets the current user, gets their score, and it says, good job, your score was whatever. And then it unsets the username. And then after that, on the leaderboard.txt file, it goes ahead and writes, basically it writes username : score. And then it goes through line by line and then puts everything in an array and then sorts it by the score. And the lowest score is put at the top. And so you can see all the users who've played. And if a user plays multiple times and they get a better score each time, they can see how their score improves over time. So with the Scrum methodology, we basically just implemented a standard Scrum methodology where we had daily stand-ups for 15 minutes. We used a Kanban board to track progress, and then we addressed any blockers we had, and we went over what we did the day before and what we were doing today. And this made things a lot easier and dramatically sped up the workflow. Now we'll go ahead and dive into the demo. So first, we'll just enter a random username. We'll say Henry. And you can see invalid username, please try again. So we'll go ahead and register this username. Register, and now if we type in Henry, we're here. So we'll select the easy difficulty, but here the first word is cat, so we'll type in C, A, and T. Now we can go to the next level. Now the second word is dog. Now we'll go ahead and go to the next level. I believe the third word is pig. Now I'll go ahead and go to the next level. So here, this one is bat. So I entered one incorrect letter, which is M. And now we can see that right now the total incorrect guesses is 0, but when we go to the next level, it'll update and it'll show you what the current total incorrect guesses is. So let's go here. Let me find okay, it's hat and then mat. And then the final word is, and as you can see, the incorrect guesses is at 2 now. Okay, so now congratulations, click here to see your score. And you can see we have a leaderboard with previous attempts and testing that we've done. So this is the number 1 because Juice only had 1 incorrect. This one only had 1 incorrect. And then Henry is third on the leaderboard because Henry had 2 incorrect guesses. So that's the overall functionality. You can see the leaderboard is updating appropriately and placing the users in the correct spots, depending on what they do. So that concludes our project. That's kind of everything that we had to show. Thank you so much.